Jonathan Rivers, Earth's chosen diplomat, held his ground with a steady, unblinking resolve. A seasoned negotiator in his early 40s, Rivers had been sent to convey Earth's official stance. He was an unassuming man by appearance, with graying hair and the well-worn suit of a career statesman, yet his eyes carried a steely determination that could not be dismissed. At the head of the assembly, Gorik, the council's leader, looked down with barely concealed disdain. Gorik was an imposing figure, standing well over 7 feet tall, with scales of a deep, menacing blue that shimmered under the dim light. As a member of the formidable Yorhan race, Gorik had long held the belief that physical prowess was an indicator of a species' worth. To him, humanity was nothing more than a resource, one that would either submit or be subjugated. Human representative, Gorik's voice boomed, echoing across the chamber. Your world is small, your technology limited, your numbers laughable. The Galactic Council has reviewed your application for membership, and we find it lacking. A ripple of laughter washed through the assembly as Gorik paused, relishing the spectacle. Rivers remained silent, his gaze fixed on Gorik, waiting. The council leader's smile widened, revealing a row of sharp, gleaming teeth. Nevertheless, we are prepared to grant your world a place under the council's protection, provided, of course, that Earth pays its due tribute, Gorik continued. Riches, resources, and 1/10 of your population conscripted for our labor forces. A reasonable price for peace and security. Wouldn't you agree? Rivers took a slow breath, letting the demand hang in the air for a moment before he replied. The people of Earth do not seek protection, nor do we desire to be subordinate to any power. We applied to join the Council as equals, as allies. If that is not acceptable, then we respectfully withdraw our request. Gorik's face darkened, and a few of the other council members muttered amongst themselves. The atmosphere shifted. The amusement of the council members transformed into something sharper, more hostile. Equality? Gorik spat the word, his eyes flashing. Do you believe you are equal, human? You barely understand the extent of the galaxy's power. We allow you this offer out of mercy, not obligation. Rivers stood firm. We understand enough to know that our autonomy is not a matter of mercy, but of principle. Humanity has fought for its freedom before, and will do so again if necessary. A murmur spread through the council, disbelief mixed with irritation. Gorik raised a hand, silencing the hall. Perhaps you fail to understand the consequences of defiance, Mr. Rivers, he said with a sneer. Refusing our terms is not an option. If Earth does not comply, we will take what we desire by force. For a brief moment, Rivers' gaze softened, a flicker of regret crossing his face. Then, with unwavering resolve, he straightened, clasping his hands behind his back. If that is the Council's will, then Earth has no choice but to defend itself. We will not pay tribute, nor will we bow to threats. The laughter returned, harsher this time, echoing with mockery. Gorik leaned forward, as if studying a strange insect. Your courage is commendable, but it is misplaced. You will fall as all others have fallen before us. When we are finished, Earth will be nothing more than a memory. Without missing a beat, Rivers replied. Then history will remember humanity as a species that stood against tyranny, no matter the odds. We would rather face annihilation than surrender our freedom. A chilling silence followed. The council members stared at Rivers, stunned by his defiance. Gorik's face twisted in anger, his earlier amusement entirely gone. His voice dropped, cold and deadly. So be it then. You have made your choice. Earth will pay for this insolence with blood. Rivers inclined his head in a brief, respectful nod, then turned to leave the chamber. He did not look back, even as the murmurs of contempt and rage followed him. Every step he took was measured, purposeful, yet his mind raced with the gravity of what had just occurred. As he reached the exit, a younger member of the council, the only one who had not laughed, called out, "Do you truly believe Earth can survive this?" he asked, with a genuine curiosity in his tone. Rivers stopped, casting a single glance over his shoulder. Survival is not a matter of belief. It's a matter of resolve. With that, he left the chamber, his footsteps echoing into silence. He knew what awaited him back on Earth. The doubts, the questions, the urgency of mobilization. But he also knew that humanity was a force unlike any the galaxy had ever faced. And now, the Council would come to understand that truth firsthand. The journey back from the Galactic Council was silent. Jonathan Rivers sat alone in his transport pod, gazing out the window at the endless expanse of stars. In those stars, he saw the vast gulf that now separated Earth from the rest of the galaxy, a chasm forged by pride and hardened by humanity's unwillingness to yield. As the pod neared Earth's orbital station, Rivers straightened, mentally preparing himself for the storm he knew he was about to unleash. Waiting for him in the station's control center was General Micah Jones, the highest-ranking officer in Earth's Defense Forces. Jones was a tall, imposing figure in his late 50s, his presence as solid as granite, his voice calm and measured. A war hero with a reputation for strategic brilliance, Jones had faced every threat to Earth's safety with unshakable resolve. But even he looked grim as he received Rivers' message. Council didn't take it well, I gather, Jones asked, watching as Rivers disembarked from the transport pod. Rivers sighed, running a hand through his hair. They were less than receptive. They demanded tribute, resources, people, subjugation. When we refused, they declared war. I think they expect us to surrender immediately. Jones's face darkened. They've misjudged us then. We're not a people who fold under threats. Rivers nodded. It was the only response I could give. Earth can't afford to live under the heel of tyrants. Jones glanced at the console in front of him, where reports of troop movements and emergency protocols were lighting up. Well, it looks like they're already moving to make good on their threats, he said. Our satellites have detected several Council fleets mobilizing in nearby systems. They'll be within range in a matter of days. Rivers took a deep breath. The Council sees us as weak, unprepared. They don't understand that humanity's greatest strength isn't in our resources or technology, but in our resolve. We've been preparing for this kind of threat for years. Jones gave a small, approving nod. They'll learn soon enough. They moved to the central command room, where high-ranking officers and strategists awaited the orders to mobilize Earth's defenses. A holographic map of the solar system hovered in the air, showing the positions of Earth's forces and the anticipated trajectory of the incoming fleets. Rivers addressed the assembly, his voice clear and unwavering. Ladies and gentlemen, the Galactic Council has officially declared Earth an enemy of the galaxy. They expect us to submit, to bow down and offer tribute like conquered subjects. But we are not conquerable. We will not give an inch of Earth to those who seek to enslave us. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, expressions hardening as the gravity of their situation settled over them. Jones stepped forward, his tone firm. We've prepared for this moment. Every ship, every soldier, every defense platform has been primed and waiting. The Council expects us to be helpless. Let's show them just how wrong they are. Over the next few hours, Earth's defense forces mobilized at a breakneck pace. Emergency sirens echoed throughout the orbital station as soldiers readied themselves. Ships were fueled and final preparations were completed. All of humanity's military might was being brought to bear. Every ship, every weapon, every hardened veteran who had spent their lives preparing for a day when Earth's sovereignty would be challenged. As the last preparations were underway, Rivers and Jones shared a brief, quiet moment in the command center. The tension between them was palpable, a mix of fear, pride, and the unspoken understanding of the cost that this conflict would demand. Rivers broke the silence. I know this isn't the war you signed up for, Micah. Jones met his gaze, his eyes sharp with determination. I didn't join to fight easy wars. I joined to protect Earth. And if that means going up against an entire council of alien powers, then so be it. Rivers allowed himself a faint smile. You've always believed we could take on the galaxy. Jones grunted. No, I believed we could survive it. Believing and surviving are two different things, but sometimes they're all you have. At that moment, a young officer approached, interrupting their exchange. "Sir, the Council's vanguard has entered the outer solar system. They'll be within striking distance in 12 hours. Jones squared his shoulders, his expression hardening. "Good. Let's give them a welcome they'll never forget." As the officer moved off to relay the orders, Rivers turned back to Jones. "This isn't just about defense anymore. This is about showing them who we are, what we stand for. The Council has to understand that humanity is not prey, not a resource to be taken." Jones nodded. "They may have numbers, power, and all the arrogance in the galaxy, but they've made one critical mistake. They've underestimated us." Rivers allowed himself a rare moment of pride. "Let's make sure they don't make that mistake twice." The men shook hands, a silent promise passing between them. They were about to embark on a fight unlike any Earth had ever known, facing an enemy whose power dwarfed anything humanity had encountered. But they would face it together, driven by a shared conviction that Earth's freedom was worth any price. As the command center hummed with activity, the view from the observation deck revealed the distant cold stars, each one a reminder of the vast galaxy that sought to crush them. But somewhere in that infinite darkness lay humanity's future, and they were willing to defend it with every fiber of their being. Rivers watched the stars for a moment longer, then turned back to the battle map. "Let them come," he murmured, the weight of his words stealing everyone around him. "Let them see what it means to challenge humanity." With that, the countdown to the first battle began. The entire room buzzed with anticipation, each person preparing for the confrontation that would determine the fate of Earth. And as Rivers took his place beside Jones, he knew that whatever happened next, they would stand together against the galaxy's might, unyielding and unafraid. The void of space erupted into chaos as the first wave of the Galactic Council's fleet entered Earth's defensive perimeter. Massive warships with shimmering alien insignia surged forward, their hulls bristling with weapons, each vessel a testament to the Council's technological might. The fleet was an overwhelming display of power, a show of force meant to break humanity's resolve before the real battle had even begun. But General Micah Jones was prepared. From his command post aboard the USS Heroic, Earth's most advanced battleship, he watched the incoming swarm with the calculated calm of a seasoned strategist. His eyes never left the hollow display tracking the Council's ships, each flashing representing a vessel filled with hostile forces. Jones' voice was a steady, grounding presence as he issued orders to the captains of Earth's defense fleet. "Form up, all units," he commanded, his tone a blend of authority and reassurance. "Engage on my mark, target their forward lines, and don't give them an inch. We're not here to hold. This is a fight for our survival." Around him, the bridge crew moved with practiced precision, their faces tense but heroic. Lieutenant Thompson Bell, his trusted second-in-command, was stationed at the targeting console, his hands flying over the controls as he coordinated with the other ships. Bell had been with Jones through countless skirmishes, and his sharp eyes caught every movement on the tactical display. "General, enemy ships are advancing faster than anticipated. They're positioning to cut through our left flank," Bell reported, his tone focused but unwavering. Jones nodded, his mind racing through possible strategies. "Then we hit them where they least expect it," he replied. "Order the Archer and Vanguard to break formation and swing around to flank them. I want suppressive fire covering their approach. Let's see if the Council's so-called invincible fleet can handle a human ambush." The ships sprang into action, Earth's fleet moving with a cohesion that belied their relative inexperience with galactic warfare. Sleek, heavily armed warships split off and advanced on the enemy, firing volleys of laser cannons and missile barges. Explosions lit up the blackness of space as Council ships took hit after hit, some bursting into flaming wreckage under the relentless assault. The Council's forces, expecting a quick and decisive victory, hesitated. Jones seized the moment, pressing the advantage. "All ships advance. Push them back and don't let up. Let them see what happens when they challenge humanity. With that, Earth's fleet surged forward, pushing the Council's forces back in a brutal exchange of fire. Human ships moved with an intensity the Council forces hadn't anticipated, striking with deadly precision and a relentless determination. Every pilot, every soldier, fought with the understanding that this was a battle for their lives, their home, and their freedom. On the bridge of a Council warship, Commander Zarn watched the unfolding battle in disbelief. As a seasoned Council officer, he had seen countless conflicts, but nothing had prepared him for the ferocity with which humanity fought. His earlier arrogance began to waver as he witnessed Earth's forces cutting through the Council's ranks with a speed and efficiency that defied expectation. "Commander, the humans they're breaking through our lines," one of his officers stammered, struggling to contain his panic. Mondar gritted his teeth, barking back, "Regroup and reinforce the forward positions. They're a backwater species. We cannot fall to them." But even as he issued the command, another human vessel tore through his flank, bombarding his ship with an array of high-powered munitions that left his hull trembling. Zarn's eyes widened, the cold realization setting in. These humans were not the easy prey they had assumed. Back on the USS Heroic, General Jones felt a flicker of satisfaction as reports flooded in. Earth's fleet was holding strong, and the Council's forces were faltering under the relentless pressure. But he knew the battle was far from over. "General, we're picking up energy spikes from their lead ships. They're preparing for a full-scale assault," Lieutenant Bell reported, his face etched with worry. "They're planning to breach our line with brute force." Jones nodded, his gaze fixed on the tactical display. "Let them come. Order all units to concentrate fire on their lead vessels. If they want to test our defenses, we'll give them a lesson in human resilience they'll never forget." The Council ships advanced in a desperate attempt to overpower Earth's defenses, but they were met with a barrage of firepower that tore into their formations. Human ships dodged and weaved through the enemy ranks, striking with ruthless precision. Despite the Council's overwhelming numbers, they found themselves outmatched by Earth's tactics and sheer determination. As the battle raged, Jones kept his focus, never allowing himself a moment of relief. He knew that victory here was only the beginning, that the Council would not easily concede defeat. But as he watched Council ships fall one by one, he felt a fierce pride in his crew, in humanity's ability to defy the odds. Hours later, the Council fleet was in disarray, their numbers decimated, their morale shattered. Some ships began to retreat, abandoning their positions as Earth's forces advanced relentlessly. Commander Zarn, battered and humiliated, ordered a full withdrawal, his voice shaking as he admitted defeat. On the USS Heroic, a cheer erupted as the last of the Council ships fled beyond Earth's defensive perimeter. Jones allowed himself a rare smile, nodding at Bell. "They underestimated us, Lieutenant. But this is just the beginning. They'll come back with a vengeance." Bell's expression sobered, understanding the weight of Jones' words. "We'll be ready, sir. Whatever they send our way, we'll meet it head-on." Jones looked out at the vastness of space, knowing that the Council would not take this loss lightly. But today, humanity had proven that they were not mere prey to be hunted, not a resource to be exploited. They were a force to be reckoned with, a species built to withstand, to fight, and to survive against impossible odds. As the crew prepared for what lay ahead, Jones' voice cut through the celebration, steady and heroic. "This is only the first battle, but we've shown them that humanity will not bow. And when they return, they'll find us ready, stronger, fiercer, and more unbreakable than they could ever imagine." With that, the USS Heroic turned back toward Earth, the promise of future battles casting a shadow over the horizon, and a newfound determination filling the hearts of those who had defended their world. The wreckage of the Galactic Council's fleet drifted through space, a silent testament to humanity's defiance. The victory was hard-won, and although Earth's forces were battered, they stood undefeated. Within the command center of the USS Heroic, General Micah Jones, surveyed the scene on the hollow display. Feeling both pride and exhaustion, his body was heavy with fatigue, but his gaze was unwavering, focused on the implications of the battle that had just ended. Lieutenant Thompson Bell stood beside him, his eyes on the shattered remains of Council ships scattered across the void. "General," Bell said quietly, "the Council underestimated us from the beginning. I don't think they'll make that mistake again." Jones nodded, his face set in grim determination. "No, they won't. Today, they witnessed firsthand what humanity is capable of when we're pushed to the edge. They may return with a stronger force, but they'll have to reckon with the fact that we're prepared to defend our world at any cost." As the crew began post-battle assessments, a message flashed on Jones' console, a direct communication from Earth's governing council. He accepted it, and the face of Ambassador Jonathan Rivers appeared on the screen. Rivers looked weary, but his expression held a glint of satisfaction. "General Jones," Rivers began, his voice steady, "on behalf of Earth's council, I want to commend you and your forces for your bravery and unwavering resolve. You've done more than defend our world today. You've sent a message to the entire galaxy that humanity is not a force to be trifled with." Jones inclined his head, acknowledging the ambassador's words. "We've fought to protect our people, Ambassador, but I fear this victory will only spark further retaliation. The Council may return with reinforcements." Rivers' expression hardened. "We'll be ready. Thanks to your leadership, General, humanity now understands the stakes of this conflict. Our people are united in a way they've never been before. Earth's leaders are mobilizing to strengthen our defenses, and we're forming alliances with other species who have suffered under the Council's rule. Today was only the beginning." Jones felt a surge of pride. "Then we'll keep standing, for as long as we have to." The screen flickered off, and Jones took a moment to absorb the weight of what lay ahead. Humanity had crossed a line, one that would make them both feared and respected across the stars. This battle had not only protected Earth, it had solidified humanity's place in the galactic stage as a formidable opponent. As the crew set to work on repairs, Jones moved to the observation deck, looking out at the stars beyond. Bell joined him, the silence between them heavy with unspoken thoughts. "Sir," Bell said, breaking the quiet, "do you think they'll come for us again?" Jones sighed, his gaze still fixed on the vastness of space. "They will, but we'll be ready. Today proved that we're more than capable of holding our own." The galaxy thought Earth was a backwater planet, a resource to be exploited. Now they know we're a force that can't be broken. Bell nodded, his respect for the general evident. This battle was a warning to anyone who would threaten Earth. We showed them our strength, and I think we've earned something we've never had before: recognition. The words hung in the air, and Jones felt a quiet pride in the resilience of his crew, his people. This war wasn't over, but they'd survived the first clash. More importantly, they'd shown the galaxy that humanity's spirit was unbreakable. Back on Earth, the victory reverberated across the planet. News broadcasts and messages from the front lines flooded every screen, and people celebrated the triumph with a mixture of relief and newfound confidence. Earth had faced an alien force that sought to enslave them, and they had triumphed. In the quiet of the observation deck, Jones and Bell shared a moment of reflection. The general's mind turned to the future, to the inevitable return of the Council's forces, and to the preparations that would follow. But for now, they could afford a moment of quiet satisfaction, knowing that they had defended their home with everything they had. As they looked out at the stars, Jones spoke softly, almost to himself. "They wanted us to kneel. Instead, we rose. And if they come back, we'll rise again." Bell smiled, a fierce pride evident in his expression. "Then let them come, sir. We'll meet them head on, just like today. Humanity won't back down." Jones nodded, feeling the weight of his responsibility and the strength of his resolve. They had faced the unknown and emerged victorious. Whatever the future held, he knew that they would meet it with unyielding courage. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and the promise of future battles loomed on the horizon. But for now, In the calm after the storm, they stood united, a small but heroic force against the vastness of the galaxy.